There is a dream you have had more than once, maybe more times than you can count. You know it the moment it begins, the way you know a room in the dark by the sound of your own breathing, the same corridor, the same stairs, the same door you have opened 100 times in your sleep, the same person turning to face you or refusing to, and when you wake, there is a specific unease that has nothing to do with fear. It is the feeling of a message slid under the door by someone who knows you are home. So you type it into a search bar, quietly, a little embarrassed. Why do I keep having the same dream? You want a reason, you want it to stop, or you want it to mean something, and you are not sure which. There are real reasons a dream can return. Trauma, anxiety, medication, poor sleep, and certain sleep conditions can all shape what happens at night. If a recurring nightmare is causing serious distress or leaving you afraid to sleep, it deserves more than a symbolic reading. There is no shame in treating it that way. But Carl Jung, who spent much of his life listening to dreams, his own and other people's, asked another question. What if repetition is not only a symptom? What if it is also carrying meaning? What if the dream returns because something inside it has not yet been answered? Through a Jungian lens, a recurring dream can be imagined as a letter being resent. The envelope may change, the handwriting may blur, but something in the message has not reached you. Tonight, we are going to open it. Ask why a dream keeps returning and you will hear the usual advice. Reduce stress, sleep more, cut the caffeine, put the phone down earlier, all of it sensible. Sometimes it genuinely helps. But perhaps you have had the dream on calm nights too. Perhaps stress turns up the volume without writing the words. The question then is not only what caused the dream, but what the dream is doing. Those are different questions. A doctor or sleep specialist may ask what physical or psychological conditions are disturbing your sleep. That is an important question. Jung asked how the image relates to the life of the dreamer. What feeling does it restore? What truth appears at night because it cannot find a place during the day? We do not have to choose between those questions. A dream can have a physical cause and still gather material from your life. A nightmare can need treatment and still carry an image worth understanding. The mistake is assuming that explanation and meaning cancel each other out. The modern instinct is to treat every uncomfortable inner thing as noise to be managed. Soothe it, lower it, make it disappear. There is a place for that, but sometimes the disturbance is also a voice. If you spend all your effort lowering it, you may never hear what it is trying to say. Jung turned the usual instinct around. Instead of asking only, how do I make this stop? He asked, what part of the person is trying to enter the conversation? Here is the heart of it. Jung believed the psyche is self-regulating. Think of how the body holds its temperature. Too hot, and it sweats. Too cold, and it shivers. It leans toward balance without waiting for a conscious decision. Jung thought the inner life behaved in a similar way. When the conscious personality leans too far in one direction, the unconscious may answer from the other side. He called this compensation. Your waking personality is one-sided because it has to be. To get through a day, you commit to a version of yourself. I am the strong one. I am the reasonable one. I do not need anyone. I am over it. You build a life around that position, and whatever does not fit is pushed out of sight. Then night comes, and the excluded part gets a room of its own. The strong person becomes helpless. The self-sufficient person cannot find the road home. The one who insists they have forgiven is furious again. The dream leans toward the feeling the daytime personality refuses to carry. So a recurring dream may be more than an old wound replaying. It may also reveal the imbalance built around the wound, the strength that hardened into isolation, the independence that made asking for help impossible, the forgiveness that arrived before anger was ever allowed to speak. The dream does not have to deny what happened to you. It may be showing you what surviving it forced you to leave behind. Imagine someone who keeps dreaming they are back at school. The corridor is crowded. Every clock shows a different time. Somewhere behind one of the doors, an examination has already begun. They know they are late. Everyone else received instructions they somehow missed. They move from room to room carrying a blank sheet of paper, searching for the place where they are supposed to prove themselves. In waking life, this person is the reliable one, prepared, competent, the one people call when something goes wrong. Ask whether they feel lost and they will laugh. They have a plan for everything. Their identity rests on being the person who knows what to do. Then night comes, and the dream removes the plan. The easy interpretation is that they fear failure. Maybe they do. Jung would still ask what conscious attitude the dream is challenging. Where is this person performing certainty while privately wondering what the question even is? What expectation are they trying to satisfy without remembering when they agreed to it? One morning, they noticed something they had missed. The strongest feeling in the dream is not fear, it is resentment. Nobody told them what the examination was about. Nobody asked whether they wanted to take it. That detail turns the dream away from, I am not good enough, and towards something more unsettling. I am living by rules I never agreed to. Nothing has been solved yet. No dramatic decision has been made, but something has been heard. The next time the dream comes, the corridor is empty. The examination room is easy to find. On the desk lies a blank sheet of paper. That is not an answer. It is an invitation. The dream has stopped asking whether they can pass someone else's test. It is asking what question they are finally willing to answer for themselves. This is how a dream can argue. It does not deliver a lecture. It places your daytime identity inside an image that reveals its missing half. The confident person becomes uncertain. The forgiving person meets an anger that still has a pulse. The person who insists they are happy wanders through a house in which every room has been abandoned. The dream does not contradict you to humiliate you. It may contradict you because the version of yourself that survives the day is not the whole of you. Most people ask one question when the dream returns: why did I have it again? There is another question that may tell you more. What changed this time? A recurring dream is not always an identical scene trapped in a loop. Sometimes it is a sequence disguised as repetition. The setting stays familiar, but one detail moves. The corridor is the same, but now there is light beneath the door. The pursuer is still behind you, but this time you see its face. The train still leaves the station, but now you notice where it was going. The house is unchanged, except for a staircase that was not there before. At first, the image may return in its simplest form. As your relationship to it changes, it can become more precise. What was faceless gains a face. What was only a sound becomes a word. What waited outside enters the room. Sometimes the dream becomes more frightening because the threat is becoming specific enough to recognize. A shadow at the end of the corridor is frightening in one way. Your own reflection standing there is frightening in another. The second image tells you more. So do not record only whether the dream happened. Record its movement. What was closer? What was farther away? Who spoke? Who stayed silent? What did you do differently, even if the difference seemed too small to matter? Did you run as quickly as before? Did you hesitate before closing the door? Did you look back? A change in the dream does not prove that you have solved it, but it may show that the conversation is moving. The scene is no longer frozen because you are no longer standing in exactly the same place. Do not turn every detail into a scorecard. A darker dream is not automatically a setback, and a calmer one is not automatically a victory. The useful question is whether the image has become more specific. Is it showing you something that was hidden before? Movement can look like relief, but it can also look like clarity. And the opposite is also true. You can understand the image intellectually while changing nothing. You can write, "The pursuer represents my anger," and then spend the next day smiling through something that makes you furious. Insight can name the door without opening it. The unconscious does not need an impressive interpretation. It needs a relationship. That is why a dream can return even after you think you understand it. The explanation stayed in your notebook. The rest of you is still in the same corridor, making the same choice. The dream may not be a prison built from repetition. It may be an unfinished story, waiting for its next scene. Return to the image of the letter. It arrives. You recognize the handwriting, and something in you tightens, so you leave it unopened. The next morning, it is there again. Same envelope, same hand, but a letter is not complete simply because it has been opened. A letter becomes correspondence when someone replies. So how do you reply to a dream? Begin without forcing it to give you a neat answer. The moment you wake, write the dream in the present tense. Not, I was walking through a house. Write, I am walking through a house. I hear something upstairs. I know I am not supposed to go there. Present tense keeps you close to the image before the waking mind turns it into a distant story. Then ask what feeling remained in your body. Fear is not the only answer. It may be shame, anger, grief, longing, helplessness. Name it as precisely as you can. The emotion may be closer to the message than the symbol is. Choose the image with the strongest charge and write down the first 3 personal memories or associations it brings, not what a website says it means. What does this staircase remind you of? Whose door looked like that? When have you felt that same cold air or heard that same kind of silence? A personal association often brings the dream closer to waking life. Now place two descriptions beside each other. The person I claim to be during the day. The person I become in the dream. During the day, I insist that I am in control. In the dream, I cannot find the road. I insist that I no longer care. In the dream, I keep waiting for someone to return. I insist that I need nobody. In the dream, I am calling for someone who never comes. The distance between those descriptions is where the dream may be working. Before going further, be honest about safety. If the dream is tied to trauma, brings overwhelming distress, or leaves you afraid to sleep, do not force yourself back into the image alone. Qualified support is not a failure to understand the dream. It may be the safest way to answer it. If the image feels manageable, return in your imagination to the moment when you normally obey it. The moment you run, the moment you close the door, the moment you stay silent. You do not have to defeat the scene. Stay there a little longer than usual. Turn slightly toward the pursuer. Put your hand on the door. Look at the person who refuses to face you. Then ask one question. What do you want me to know? The answer may not arrive as a sentence. It may be another image, a memory, a feeling in the body, or a question you have avoided. Do not make the dream perform for you. The purpose is to stop leaving the conversation at the same moment every time. Finally, give it one reply in waking life, not a dramatic transformation. One honest act. If the dream exposes grief, give the grief somewhere to exist. If it exposes anger, admit what the anger is protecting. If it reveals exhaustion, stop praising yourself for surviving without rest. If it reveals uncertainty, say, "I do not know," without treating the words as failure. The reply is not the interpretation written beneath the dream. It is the movement you make because you heard it. Sometimes the most honest reply is simply, "I see you. I am not ready, but I am no longer pretending you do not exist." If the dream returns, do not assume you failed. Look again. Has the room changed? Has the distance changed? Has the figure changed? Have you changed? The letter may return because there is another page. We assume a repeating dream points backward. Old pain, old scenes, the past returning in another form. Sometimes it does, but Jung also believed a dream could point forward, not by predicting an event, but by showing the direction the inner life is already moving. He called this the prospective function. A dream may rehearse an encounter you are not ready to have. It may introduce an attitude the conscious personality has not learned. It may place you at a threshold before waking life has given that threshold a name. What it anticipates is usually psychological rather than literal. The dream may not show the event that is coming. It may show the posture with which you are approaching it. Hesitation, readiness, refusal. A part of you may recognize the direction of change before the conscious personality is willing to name it. Jung was careful here. He did not treat this as prophecy. He compared it to a medical diagnosis or a weather forecast. A forecast reads conditions that already exist and shows where they may lead. It can be useful without being fate. The dream is preparation, not prediction. Picture someone who repeatedly dreams they are standing beside a train but never boarding it. The platform, waiting, the doors closing without them. Months later, they admit they have been postponing a decision about their life. The dream did not predict where they would go. It pictured the shape of their situation, ready to leave, still refusing to depart. So before you file a recurring dream under old news, consider whether it is less interested in where you have been than in the threshold you keep approaching. The same part of you that sends the letter may already feel which way you are turning. Many people know the chase dream. Something is behind you. You run. Your legs are heavy as wet rope. No matter how quickly the ground moves, the thing behind you keeps its distance and its patience. You wake with your heart going. Jung would ask you to consider the dream on what he called the subjective level. The figures in a dream may be more than the people they resemble. They may also carry qualities, emotions, needs, or conflicts inside the dreamer. The pursuer, then, may be a piece of yourself you have disowned. Jung called this territory the shadow. The traits, needs, and feelings you decided were not allowed to be you. You did not destroy them by refusing them. You only sent them behind you. That does not mean every pursuer has one meaning. A frightening dream can arise from trauma, stress, physical disturbance, or countless personal associations, but sometimes the thing you flee is carrying something you refuse to carry consciously. You have heard the instruction before. Turn and face it. The point is not to fight the figure or prove that you are stronger. The point is to see whose face it wears. Perhaps it carries the grief you would not feel. The anger you were taught was ugly. The need you decided made you weak. Some dreamers, when they finally stop and turn, discover that the dark figure is holding something: a photograph, a key, a child's coat, a broken object they almost recognize. The pursuit becomes an offering. What seemed to be hunting them was trying to hand something back. In that kind of dream, perhaps it was not chasing you to hurt you. Perhaps it was chasing you because it belongs to you. Turning around is not a battle. It is the beginning of a reunion. Now comes the temptation. You want the key. A little book that says water means this, teeth mean that, and a house means the other. Look up the symbol, copy the answer, and be done with it. Jung resisted that kind of certainty. A fixed dictionary treats your dream like a generic postcard sent to everyone. His method moved in the opposite direction. He called it amplification. You stay with the image. You ask what this particular door, this particular water, this particular face means inside this particular life. Then you widen the circle towards stories, myths, and older human patterns without abandoning the dreamer's own associations. The images are not empty, but their meaning has to be earned. Take teeth falling out, one of the most common dream images. For one person, it may begin with actual tension in the jaw or teeth during sleep. For another, it may gather around aging, appearance, embarrassment, helplessness, or the fear of losing control in front of other people. The image does not arrive with one universal sentence attached to it. A house may become an image of the self, but which house? Your childhood home? A stranger's house? A place you spent years trying to escape, or the only place you ever felt safe? Water may suggest emotion, danger, cleansing, birth, drowning, but the sea does not mean the same thing to someone who grew up beside it as it does to someone who nearly drowned in it. These are not entries in a lookup table. They are starting points for a conversation. The dictionary gives you a stranger's answer and ends the dialogue. Jung gives you a question and begins one. Jung was not standing outside this mystery, handing theories to other people. Some of the dreams that shaped his psychology were his own. In 1909, while traveling with Freud, Jung dreamed that he was inside a house he did not recognize, although he knew it was his. He began on an upper floor filled with old furniture and paintings. Then he descended. The floor below was older. Beneath that was a cellar, and below the cellar he reached something more ancient still, a cave containing bones, broken pottery, and human skulls. Jung came to understand the house as an image of the psyche. The upper rooms belonged to everyday consciousness. The lower floors opened into older and less personal layers beneath it. The dream gave him a picture of the mind as a structure built over depth. The conscious personality did not create. Years later, before alchemy became central to his work, another house image returned across a series of dreams. Beside his home stood an unfamiliar wing or annex. How could part of his own house have been there without his knowledge? Eventually he entered it and discovered a library filled with old books and strange symbolic illustrations. Only later did he connect those images with the field of alchemy he was beginning to explore. The two dreams moved in different directions. One led downward into the foundations of the psyche. The other led outward into an unknown extension of the person he had not yet become. Both carried the same unsettling recognition. The place you call yourself contains rooms you have never entered. The image of the house could hold both discoveries. It could lead backward into inherited and forgotten foundations, and it could open toward a future interest that had not yet found a place in Jung's conscious life. The building was not only a picture of what he had been, it was also a picture of what he might become. This is why a recurring house dream can feel so powerful. The unknown room may not mean that the house is broken. It may suggest that the life being lived inside it has become too small. The room may keep appearing because some possibility is ready to be recognized. Not everything unknown within you is a threat. Some of it may be unused life. Most dreams are private mail, your day, your fears, your unfinished conversations. But Jung noticed that a few dreams feel different in scale. They arrive with a weight that seems too large for one private situation. You wake shaken, not only because the dream was frightening, but because it felt older than you. He called these big dreams. They often appear around thresholds. A childhood ending, one life giving way to another. A death, a birth, a period when the ground of identity is shifting. Jung believed that at such moments, a dream could draw on images that seemed to belong to human experience more broadly. He called their source the collective unconscious. Whether you take that idea literally, psychologically, or as a powerful metaphor, many people recognize the experience he was describing, the rare dream that feels larger than the events of one life. That feeling of magnitude does not make a dream supernatural, prophetic, or universally true. It means the image carries unusual emotional weight. Jung's response was not to worship the image or obey it blindly. It was to give it more attention, more context, and more patience than an ordinary fragment of the day. Think of water, a glass overflowing on a kitchen counter and a sea rising over the entire world are both water, but they do not carry the same scale. The small spill may belong to a private emotion. The sea, with no far shore, may suggest that an entire way of understanding life is being overwhelmed or remade. Not every recurring dream is a big dream. Most are personal letters. But if one has ever felt addressed to more than the person you are today, do not rush to reduce it. Ask what threshold gave the image such unusual weight. Sometimes there comes a night when the dream does not return. Sometimes it returns, but the ending changes. The house is the same, but the locked door is open. The figure still follows you, but no longer feels like an enemy. Sometimes the dream remains while the terror goes out of it. Change does not always look like silence. Sometimes it looks like relationship. The dreamer gives the disowned feeling somewhere to exist during the day. They stop explaining away the conflict. They admit what they know. They make one choice differently. The next dream may soften. A figure speaks. A room becomes livable. Or nothing obvious changes yet. This is not a method for forcing a difficult dream to stop. If the only purpose were to silence the image, that would be another form of refusal. The deeper change is that the dreamer is no longer standing in the same relationship to it. And if the dream returns, that does not automatically mean the work failed. Perhaps another layer is ready. Perhaps the same image is carrying a different question. Perhaps the letter has a second page. Nor does recurrence prove that you are resisting some truth. A nightmare may persist because trauma, medication, stress, or disrupted sleep continues to affect the person having it. Symbolic interpretation should never become another way to blame someone for suffering. Sometimes the most honest response is reflection. Sometimes it is treatment. Sometimes it is both. The dream is not defeated when it changes. The argument has become a conversation. The next time you wake with that familiar unease, the corridor fading and the door just closing, do not begin with, "How do I make this stop?" Begin with, "What changed? What was closer this time? What spoke? What stayed silent? What did you do that you had never done before?" Ask what the dream insists upon, that your daytime self refuses. What feeling keeps returning to your door? What figure follows you because it has nowhere else to go? What room belongs to you, although you have never entered it? Write the dream in the present tense. Name the strongest emotion. Notice the distance between the person you are during the day and the person the dream allows you to become at night. Then give it one honest reply in waking life. Not a perfect interpretation, not a dramatic transformation. One movement that proves the letter reached someone. If the figure chasing you is tied to something you have sent into exile, the next door opens onto Jung's idea of the shadow, the disowned self that walks behind the personality you show the world. It is all part of the same work, the slow turning toward what you already contain. But tonight, you do not have to solve everything. You only have to stop looking away. There is a letter on your table with your name on it, in handwriting you almost recognize. Perhaps it has been waiting for years. Perhaps it has arrived 100 times. And perhaps the next time it comes, you will not throw it away. You will sit down. You will open it. For the first time, something in you will know that someone is there to reply.